All right, baby, we're back. Jets 55. I'm trying something new. Trying something new. This jersey is inside out. I have to do something. We have to try something. Listen, did I drink the Kool-Aid again? Philly, did you drink the Kool-Aid?
You
We
sure
drank
did.
the
So did
Kool-Aid.
I. I took a little longer, but I did. Yes. No.
No, no. That draft, I just drank gallons of the Kool-Aid. And the funny thing is, I was a big Geno fan when we had him. Believe it or not, I was excited for that year. He was going to really be full time, engage in everything. And of course, being a Jets fan, he gets his jaw broken, which is what our life is like. But I just want to say this, Jets fans. Okay, I drank the Kool-Aid, but listen clearly. Detroit, first year under Campbell, first year with Aaron Glenn, 11 straight losses. They won it with just a few wins. Everybody wants those guys tarred and feathered. But I think really after this draft, we've seen something. And the biggest thing, my favorite thing of all the things they've done is that big boy Sweat. And that's a real nose tackle.
The
That guy is
monster. Yeah.
huge, athletic, unmovable. So let's look at that. Let's look at that. That was excitement. The safety they got, all the other pieces, the other edge rushes they got. I'm good with Bailey. I'm excited. People always think, well, this, that. They think these guys are this or that. He graduated 3 years, got a degree at Stanford, intelligent young man.
Mhm.
Then you find out he loves football. He thirsts for it. He's all engaged. He's trying to emulate Von Miller. He finds guys who are great. Hutchinson. That first
Right.
step. He made himself become great. So, and all across the board, listen, you all heard the guys' names. I think they got a lot of value at the end. When you see that safety and a seventh pick and the excitement he's going to bring, that big boy Jackson, who's going to be like the backup nose tackle, or maybe being plays with Sweat. And like I said, the last thing for me, though, we could talk about all of them. Dude, Sadiq, that guy has unmeasurables.
Yeah.
Everybody said he was the
He's a
number one
freak. There's no doubt. He's
freak
amazing. Yeah.
athlete. Yeah. And I guess in this day and age, with my upside down jersey, freak athlete is the thing. So, listen, I know I'm doing it again, but, right, the two, three tight end sets. I've always liked Ruckett. Okay, he's going to be a tight end three. I mean, come on. How many have tight end threes like Ruckett? You know, and you're going to have Taylor, you're going to have Sadiq, you're going to have Cooper, you're going to have Garrett, you have Mitchell, you have other options. You have Breeze, hopefully. You got Davis, who did a very good job, the kid from San Diego State. It's all there to look at. The offensive line to me, is improved. I love that kid, Inez, or whatever you want to pronounce his name.
Sure.
Alone,
Well,
but
yep.
you know what?
It's all
He's a
right.
little raw. Got to
We're
learn to
6 years
use it.
old. That's okay. We may be in our 60s, but we're still brains of a 6-year-old, but that's okay.
Pretty much. We don't advance brain wise. Jets fans, I'm sorry. Let's be excited. That's my first take, my friend. That's my first take. That's
Well,
how I'm getting,
you, you,
and
you,
that's where I am.
my friend, you covered it all. So good night,
We're
everyone.
done.
That's it. It's 55. Yeah. No, hey, you could sit there. We have many years, and if you take like a measuring stick, like let's just say a ruler, a 12-inch ruler, 11 and three quarters of it, and even more, we could talk about negative throughout the history. It's all except for little couple of shots of a little sprinkling of positive.
Four over all those decades, four championship games, never get into the soup.
Yeah. So
But they were there.
we could spend a lot of time on that, but what's the point? Because it's just down. I think what I saw this last month, leading up to the draft, they showed him sleeping at the draft, like, oh, what an idiot! The guy's no good. He doesn't know what he's doing. Well, I that might be true, but it might be because the guy was working a lot and was up all night, and he didn't have to worry about what he was looking at the moment. And I'm not going to defend anyone. We remember he was, fake spike guy, but I
I've
never
taken
had any
naps at
problem.
work. I've taken naps at work.
Yeah, that's right. But I never had any problem with Aaron Glenn as a player. He played hard, he did. So, and then you hear over the years, how he feels about the organization, the Jets. They give him his first shot as a scout and then as a coach. Yeah. So he really is taking this seriously to do it in a way that is, in his eyes, going to be successful. And yeah, you were right when you talked about Detroit because he knows that what he did there. He also knows when he was in New Orleans with that other guy. You know, I forgot his name. Looks like the guy from the Who. Whoville.
And this is what happens when you get
The
older.
guy on the Broncos, the coach.
The Broncos.
What the heck's his name? I'm blanking. Uh,
Here we go, baby. Here we
that's
go.
right.
Oh, just
But
wait. Let me tell folks. This, for the
it's a
new
Hall of Fame coach he's going to be.
for the
Yeah,
new folks that are going to meet us, Philly and I, Philly boy and I are Brooklyn guys, born and raised. Started rooting for the Jets in 1967 when we're both 7 years old. 1969, we're the smartest kids on the block, baby. Jets, Mets, Knicks, Rangers almost win it. 72, my sports life is great, and then it ended. It pretty much ended.
yeah, yeah.
But
And it's been that
yeah,
way forever, and
but anyway,
you gotta choose wisely.
Peyton.
Sean
Woo!
Payton, there you go. Right. So he's learned under some good people, is all I'm saying. And now he's come back home. He's here. And I think that's the way he's taken this real to heart to serious in a serious way, but he's doing it the way he wants to do it. And that's the key. You're not forcing him like they did with Herm Edwards years ago. We're going to give you these coordinators. He's got the people he wants in there. He's got his strategy in place, and he's trying to replicate his draft picks as to what he did in Detroit. That's why they went with Bailey because he reminded him, I think of what is it, Hutchinson, right? Like that kind of guy that would fit into that kind of a defense. The big guy in the middle, Sweat, like you said, he's developing it, and you still have Will McDonald. I think he's going to be around a little bit more. He brought in the old guy Davis, the Mario Davis, to hopefully do a little bit of a transition to teach some of the other guys coming in. But I think what he's doing is he's putting his culture imprint in place. So it didn't matter that we're used to seeing them lose 12, 13, 14 games every year. So you're right. This was his first year. It's normal for someone to come in and to struggle. But the second year, you went and you got a quarterback that, okay, this isn't, a top 10 quarterback, but he's a couple of years removed from being something special, which he used to have bad aim when he first started. He was raw, but the Jets are never the team to develop anybody. So
This is
he
what
went where he needed to go, and he learned, and he did.
yeah.
He sat behind the
But this
Russell Wilson, and he became the best quarterback he could be.
but this is what
And
we need to know with that though. Let me tell you something. I think Fields was atrociously horrible. Is that even a thing? When you have a quarterback that in 4 games throws under 100 yards,
no, there's
I
something wrong
mean,
with him.
that is not even humanly possible. I was at the Jet Denver game in London. He got sacked 9 times. 7 times he got sacked. He had the ball well over 5 seconds. He had no ability to know when to scramble naturally. He had no ability to throw the ball away. I like the young man when I got him. He's a great athlete, but I just can't. I think it's almost getting Geno is 2 notches or 3 notches above what we had, which is going to change
Yeah.
everything. And then you, like you said, you got the kid, the old man Davis. He's going to be like the C.J. Mosley. Maybe he can accomplish what C.J. Mosley couldn't finish, and a lot of dynamics in everything they
We
pick.
went
But
we went through a period where, going from Zach Wilson to Justin Fields, like, all right, this is going to be good. It's like because it was so bad, so horrible, and then Aaron Rodgers he gets hurt, he's not there, and then he's credible for that one year, but he wasn't moving any needles.
nah,
They
not
were
that.
gonna, he's like the Steelers. That's always a good organization, so they squeeze in, they sneak in, but any real games, it's not. You're gonna show that you can't move anymore. Now, the point about Geno Smith though is he's still in that age where he can still move. He's not
Right.
going to be lightning. I think he's still got a good arm, but I think if you put the system in that Frank Reich wants to put in, and for the first time, we got a real coach that's running the offense who was a head coach, man. The guy was a backup. He understands that role. So a guy like Geno isn't a star quarterback, although he had a couple of good years. He will learn from Reich. These two tight end sets, like you said, don't forget, we still have Taylor, Jason Taylor's son. You said that. But this guy Sadiq, I think he's got like I wrote it down because I was like, wow, he's 240 pounds and he ran a 4.39 at the combine.
He's going to be
But
put
he's
in
fast and big and
every,
strong. He's a
yeah.
bruiser, and he's gonna, and then we didn't even yet. So those two guys, you still have Garrett Wilson. You still have this guy Adonai Mitchell, who might not even make the team at this point. And then yeah, you got what's his name, um, Omar Cooper, who I looked at that. Remember one thing that they did this time around that they never do. They got guys that have pedigree, have success.
Well, that was the
And
whole theme. Yep. Winners,
I
winners.
mean, this guy Cooper, not only I wrote down 27 forced misses was, you know, the fourth best. Okay. He had 13
Yeah.
receiving touchdowns, 13th, a third best in the nation on the best team. So whatever categorization you want to give to the guy, it's not like he's in Bowling Green or some shit college like Hofstra or not Hofstra, but like where BYU, where the other guy can't. This is the team that they put it all together. These guys played at a level, a high level, and they came from nowhere. So this guy understands what it takes to get there. And I think that's what Glenn wants. And then he follows it up with that guy Pond, right?
Well,
Who
there was
he's
one.
exactly like Aaron
Yeah.
Glenn. He's like that. He's
Right.
going to take
But
him under his wing.
there
And
was
that
funny,
guy,
one expert, one of these guys given the expert, whatever you want to call him, these guys graded the draft. One guy actually said, he goes, Pond was my favorite guy on the board.
yeah,
But just to grab him at that number. But I got to tell you, when it got just going back, when it got Sadiq, I was like, all right, I really liked it. 16, kind of, he's gonna be moved all around. But man, we didn't get a receiver. And then when I got Cooper at 30, then that lit it up for me, man. We got Cooper at 30 and just his ability, man. And people had him pegged like 14, 15 pick. It was like, wow, that really, really did it for me. But like I said, all these guys are coming from great programs. They're used to winning. They're used to that environment, that field. And those guys, they're not going to want to. They're not going to want
right.
to lose that. They're not going to want to lose that. So
Well, and
unbelievable.
you're gonna keep each other accountable for that too, because you got a coach now who we never won crap. He didn't with us, but when he moved on, he did a little bit better. So he too, Glenn knows what that looks like. So, but you got a guy to see. I
We
want to go
go.
back to that. Um, Cooper is tied in the nation, fourth best for finding ways to evade tacklers, right? 27 forced missed tackles. That's
Yeah.
yards after catch, that's chunk plays. And then at the same time, you got Garrett Wilson, right? And this tight end, Sadiq, who they say he's like in the speed and what he does is it's insane what these guys are capable of. So the physicality, it's just the intellect and how they get it across to them, which the Jets never have because they have teaching new coaches or whatever. Glenn, yeah, he's the first time head coach, but he's been entrenched with a solid defense for a long time. But he also brought Reich in to run the offense, which I think is genius. I think that is going to be you're gonna score points. You still have Brees Hall back there, and that other guy who got hurt at the end of the year, who's awesome. So let's see if they lock Brees Hall up for a few years too. But I also you're right. The whole theme of it was winners, right? You got Taylor and Sadiq, you got Cooper, Wilson, Sky Mitchell, and I'm sorry, Garrett Wilson. They're loaded now on offense. You could
It
really,
seems, you know what, that's the feeling. It seems like they all loaded. And it was an interesting take on the 15 years the Jets, as we all know. But it showed in the 15 years, their defense, I know last year there was a drop, but their defenses have always been formidable defenses. Maybe a lot of years in the top five, some years in the top 15, just formidable. And it's their offense that for 15 years has been literally horrible.
oh,
Just
And
The
it's
one,
like we always say, you got to have the quarterback.
and
Well, okay, they don't have, you know, Mendoza or whatever, but they got, a guy who is a B quarterback at least, It's not an F quarterback or a question mark. The guy should be able to throw touchdowns, and
what excites me about Gino is that I watch a bunch of Raider games. Somehow I watched a lot of them. And for him to
O
even
line was
throw,
crap. Yeah,
for him to throw over 3,000 yards and 19 TDs was incredible because almost every play I saw him, he was running for his life.
yeah.
I mean, the line, now we got one of that lineman. Supposedly he was the only good one on that line because the rest of the line was absolutely useless. It was just terrible. So if Gino can get protection like he did in Seattle, I'm not expecting those exact numbers, but you got something that, again, that's when the Kool-Aid is drank. And by the way, just a side note, one of the things I'm happy about with Glenn, yeah, he is the head coach. His imprint is going to be on everything. He's the defensive mind, man. Get back in, call the plays. This thing with Wilkes last year from the get-go made no sense. When you bring a defensive coordinator who does not have the same philosophy as the head coach, who's a defensive guru almost, how is that ever going to work? So when I
Hey,
got Wilkes, I was very happy, and what made me happy,
yeah.
Aaron, get in there, man. Call the defense, do your job. Yeah, have your imprint on the team, lovely. But let's
Right.
get,
Now
let's
this is
get some
yesterday's
assignment.
news. I'm really happy for Salah. He's going to get another chance. But I heard him being interviewed once. He said, they asked him, what are you going to do different? He says, I'm going to call my own plays. That's the trick. You can't allow, like Aaron Glenn last year, now he's going to be the man doing it, but he's got also the guys he wants in there. Okay. This guy, we can't make light of it. Um, Bailey is a look, 14 and a half sacks, right? And he's a guy that I think, when you compare him to Reese, which is the whole question mark. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I was stalling. Um, on one of these podcasts, I think it was a guy on the Browns, another brain fart, the superstar pass rusher. Uh,
Garrett,
right,
Garrett.
right. He was saying that was the perfect pick for them because Bailey is ready now, and Aaron Glenn will coach him up like he did with Hutchinson, and the guy will get to the quarterback, and there's no in between wait. And with the Jets, I think he thinks it's the right guy for this team, what they're building. So that's nice to hear. And then to hear the other guy, Sadiq, is always like Vernon Davis or whatever. So they got some good quality guys. And even that, who's the offensive lineman they got too? Not bad. I don't remember his name, but he's going to be a backup guard for Tillman.
Cooper, and there's Cooper.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Big,
Anus,
huge.
Anus,
Wow.
Anus, man. Right. The
Easy.
Anus.
Easy.
Yeah. But
But I will
and
say
then
this, well, just getting back to Bailey for a second. The thing is, people also got to realize this is what they needed. See, they needed that dynamic, freakish, fast off the ball defensive end. So it wasn't only like, oh, it's going to come down to those two. This is what they needed on their defense after getting all those other free agents got pickups. This is
and
what they
if Will McDonald continues his growth, if they keep him, you got two guys that are like that, and you got the monster up the middle to stop the run. But I don't know. It sounds good, but. Look, it's like we're starved for, like we always used to say, let's not be eliminated, get us to December, you still have a chance, because we've been out of it like 3, 4, 5 weeks in, 1-6, it's done, it's oh my God, here we go. Like the Mets right now. What the hell's going on? It's like you got the whole season ahead of you. It's at our age, it's not a good look anymore because we don't have many. Not that we're going to die in 2 weeks, but it's like when you're 30 years, 40 years old, say, yeah, we're going to get them. We're going to get. Now it's like, guys, let's go. I want to see it now. Make it happen. And
And like I said, we could talk about. I can tell you, I can almost tell you every playoff game I watched with the Jets. I could tell you plays that have happened. So you're looking at two guys who've been through so much.
yeah, we watched
And
half of them
sit
together.
here,
Yeah, yeah,
I was going
yeah.
to say with the Jets on our chest, but my mind is inside out just trying something new just to change it. But that's folks who are watching us. That's what you're looking at, man. Guys who have been with them from 1967. So just to give you a number, or so let your mind roll around this one, we've been watching the Jets for 7 decades.
Yep.
Seven comes out, 7 decades, and that's what you got with us, baby. And we could tell you a million stories, but it's the here and the now.
Yeah.
And very rarely, even under Douglas, they had some what they considered good drafts, but they would never mention getting that A plus, the A minus. They were never in
Yeah.
that
And
round.
you're right. They got faster. They got more creative possibilities. They got, like he said, I wrote that one down. Glenn's slogan when they were talking about Darrell Jackson, he says, mass kicks ass, mass kicks ass. So it's like he's got his philosophy. It's not Plato, you know what I mean? It's not this isn't like, like the massive, let's the great thinkers of all time, mass kicks ass. That's not the point. The point is he's got a mindset like that. He wants his guys like this. He wants his ends like that. He wants his receivers like this. So he's got his team, and you got to give the GM a lot of credit too, because he went out, made some moves, like you said, got it in place, and they have guys coming back that were hurt. Brandon, something I forgot, these other guys. They have guys that really did not do much last year that are healthy, that, on the defense, especially in the secondary.
Oh, the
So
running back Allen, who was
Braylon Allen, yeah, and who's in
really.
the secondary guy? Was it Stevens, Brandon Stevens or something? Wasn't he a guy that was supposed to be good? I don't know.
Oh no, was it Cisco?
No, I don't remember. I don't know. It's like,
Well, I know Cisco was a safety.
yeah, no, they got rid of Sauce for this guy, I think, for a while. But now you plug this new guy in, Bonds. He's undersized. I don't care if he hits and separates people from the ball and gets to the ball and knocks it down, or that's all that matters. It
Well, you know
does.
what? Guy Pons makes you think of when they had Reed with Sauce. But I got to tell you, I'm not just saying it because they traded him. I was kind of souring on Sauce because he can had so many chances for pick sixes, and he just drops it. His first game with the Colts, pick six, right in his hand, and he drops it. His
Yeah,
coverage are great. I get it.
Fitzpatrick, that's the guy. Minka Fitzpatrick they got from the Dolphins.
Yeah,
That's
that's the guy from the Dolphins. Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking of. And Brandon Stevens. Those two guys in the corners. Yeah. So you add some guys into those couple of guys. You know, I don't know. I don't know about linebackers though. I think he's a little weak there, you know. But, you know,
They got a couple of good ones in free agency. You got Davis. You got things to work with.
he's so old though. You can't count on him,
Look at his numbers from last year. He's a beast, though.
I know, but
My God, the number of tackles. He
I don't
averages more than 100 a year. He's like just like one of those
Sean Wright, D'Angelo
insanely in
Thomas.
shape guy. Yeah, they got right.
Malachi Moore's the strong safety, Cisco. So, but I think he's going to get guys that are going to play the way he wants them to play, and he's going to coach them up. He's going to call the plays. It's his game now. It's his
And
baby.
I'm really, so many years with the Jets offense I was talking about before. Even with all the different coordinators, right? All the different coordinators, it always looks the same. The plays look the same. It's always like, they got a 2 yard run, and
Yeah.
instead of like just go pass second down, third down, now they're going to try to run it again. It just seems like so. I'm really excited
Because
about
of the
some.
quarterback. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
right. But
If you're
I'm
limited with a
excited about.
quarterback, you don't know what the hell. You can't do
But
it.
I'm excited about Frank Reich. That's what I'm
Yeah.
excited about. I want to
Yeah.
see. I want to see something different. I want to see a lot of crazy, efficient plays that we never see, that we see with other teams when we're watching them. All these kind of, that's a great play. That's a great strategy they've had for this game on offense. And we kind of just sit there stagnant, just like what. I tell you one thing that does scare me. I'm not too sure what this thing with the kicker. What,
Yeah.
I don't get that. Let him
Well,
go. and the guy they have is like 70%. Now they got a guy from BYU who's only like 81%. So I'm not too sure where we're going with that. That's disappointing. I
It's
mean,
going
I
to be
know
something where a couple of weeks in, they'll just pick some old guy up
it's going to
that's
be,
still floating around and try
yeah.
to.
Well, if you think about it, when they had Rodgers in the second year and everything went to SHIT, but there were in the first 6 or 7 games, there were 3 games where they could have won with a game-winning field goal, and Burline missed all of them. And
Yeah.
what if he would have made those field goals? Things could have been, just, but it didn't happen. But here we are, and we are Jets 55, Brooklyn guys, looking for more people to look our way. And I think this is going to be an exciting Jets season. I really do. I think it's going to be an exciting Jets season. I think they're going to be fighting. And I'm not looking for December anymore. I'm looking, are we still in it in mid-November? Now I'm asking just mid-November.
Wait a minute. They need to give us our medicine. It's that time now. They're going to come in.
Pretty soon.
It's like it's time for your nighttime meds, guys. Yeah,
We
we're in
are,
the institution. You know, right? It's like
we are not experts at
no, yeah,
remembering some of the names and everything. We are experts, and we are the
that's
top-notch
right.
ones who know what it's like to be. We are true Jets fans.
I never felt
True Jets fans.
comfortable with Rodgers. It was hopeful. With this guy, I'm not like expecting him to
No,
go
it's not
40
the same.
touchdowns. But if you move the ball and you just you make things happen, you're going to throw a couple of touchdowns here and there, and it might be enough if you eat up the clock. If you can, guys, like if you set it up with an end around and you got this guy, this crazy speed with Sadiq, you don't have to throw it to him. Like maybe he just goes, he breaks one. So maybe they'll get in the end zone in creative ways this year. And I think Smith, if he's healthy, and he definitely, you're right, still has a gun, and I think he's more accurate than he used to be. He's got something to prove. He really wants to do something here. So, and
Well,
for
like I said,
we get 8, 9 wins, it's like a Super Bowl.
you
It's
know what?
disgusting, but
I love, this is why I love Glenn, where he goes, he can get us to the promised land, but that's got to be your mindset. Geno Smith, he's going to get us to the promised land. Beautiful, beautiful. It can't be like, for those younger folk, can't be like Leon Hess when he said he's the billionaire oil guy who owned the Jets for a long time,
you
and he
see
had
Hess truck commercials at the end of
he had a lot of
Christmas.
non-football people running the team. But one year he said, "Oh, he's going to give all the players like Rolex watches or something like that if they go 8-8." And it's like that 8-8, and they were terrible. So yeah, you're thinking if they went 8-8, but to shoot for 8-8, that's why I think about these things. Being a Jets fan forever, and when I hear Glenn go, "Oh, Gino can get it to the promised land," you got to think like that.
Yeah,
None of these players can think about next year when they got the 3 first-round picks and getting a young gun quarterback. Can't think about it now.
yeah.
You got to think about this year.
Mhm.
So
And like Bailey, he went to Stanford. He got a degree in 3 years out of Stanford. So this is a smart guy. I
yeah.
know because I don't, he played around here where I am, Mater Dei in Southern California. That's a competitive team that every year is in the rankings nationally. So this is good school. So I didn't know that. Oh shit, that guy played there, went to Stanford. McCaffrey went to Stanford, right? So you want to start connecting the dots. He's a smart guy. That means he's coachable. I heard him talk, and I hear he likes to eat a little bit, so be careful with that. But it's exciting, and he's got to get to that quarterback and put them down because this is an organization where we used to get sacks once in a while, and we haven't had anything close to any consistency in decades. So I would love it if they could do some damage up front. It
And
helps.
listen, just to throw the last thing out there, and again, Jets 55, baby. And again, I'll say it one last time. I drank the Kool-Aid. I'm all in. I do it. But, last year, they didn't get an interception, didn't get an interception. It's shoved down our throats. We hear. But that had a lot to do with a very porous defensive line that had Quinn Williams on it. I'm sorry. and they didn't accomplish anything. They didn't get sacks. They didn't get pressures. They have very few sacks. So I just want to see that line with Bailey and Sweat and Jackson and these big guys and some other free agents they got. I want to see them bringing the heat, baby.
They're gonna
Yeah,
throw
when you
some
bring
four
the
three
heat,
looks in there too. It's
yeah,
not
but when
gonna
you
be
bring the
only
heat,
3-4. You're right.
right,
So
right. But
that
when you
guy
bring the
Jackson
heat,
will get in.
right. But you're going to get the interceptions when you bring the heat. So well, I got one last thing to say. I think why did you see who's that running back we had on the Gays from
Oh
Pittsburgh?
yeah.
Um,
Le'Veon Bell was it?
Le'Veon Bell. I mean,
He was doing
it's
coke or something.
2026 and the season's going to start, and well, it's going to be a break, whatever. But then we're going to mini camps, OTAs, and all this stuff. And like, gays took cocaine. I'm not a fan of gays, but why are you saying it? Well, who are you? Are
Yeah.
you that pathetic? Are you that pathetic that you need to get attention by mentioning someone that you played with? How many years ago? Oh,
I'm
we take.
sure. I'm sure it wasn't his lead-in story. He's probably trying to figure out why his career wasn't even better. Which you had a great career, dude. Relax. But it does explain this.
Well, well, it did explain it, but I'm like, what are these
He was a
guys?
dope anyway. But yeah, you don't need to do
But
that to him.
but I'm just saying that all of a sudden he's been retired for years. I'm just thinking it's weird how it just comes out.
Yeah,
But
I
it
don't
doesn't
see. I don't see the gain in it either. It's
it
stupid.
does explain it. Anyway, more
But here's
positive,
to we'll
more
see what
positive.
happens. We had a good draft. And we've had good drafts before, but I like that you still got a couple of guys hanging on. Mason Taylor's still there from last year. Ruckert, like you mentioned before, the O line is good. You got the center, you got the guards, you got the two tackles. Remember, these are young guys. So now you bring a veteran quarterback in. You have a couple of running backs that now, especially Brees, have some experience. There's going to be some holes, and there's going to be some deep threats. They got to score
Hey,
points. Come on. This is a year. They got to put 24 points up. Let's go every game.
and listen, Cade, I like the kid. He played hurt. And he didn't bring that up saying, well, I played hurt. It was a tough year. No, he said, you know what? It wasn't a good year, but I hung in there. The team hung in there. They won the last four games.
Yeah.
That says something a lot. So he's an interesting, because the year before he was going to be a first round quarterback. So what changed? They almost set a record, the Clemson receivers for drops. They just kept dropping the ball. So there's things I know. I always
Like you
make
said, other people were going to try for him. So he's
right.
a he's a project. He's if nothing else, a backup. So for now, hopefully Geno Smith doesn't get hurt. But and if he does, they'll get somebody else, somebody I don't know. But you know,
Well, exciting. I hope everybody likes the Nameless painting back there,
yeah,
uh, which I always look at every day. Something's got to change. Please let it change.
yeah. Well,
Trying anything.
hey, it starts with a good draft, and I like the mindset. And there's a reason for them to put it all together now, which last year wasn't. It was just like the aftermath of a horrible breakup with that owner jumping in and ripping something apart like an idiot. Now that's all washed out. It's a new day for them. So let's go
Well,
get
like
them.
we always
Let's
say,
go get them.
what do they say? A broken clock is right twice a day. Anyway, Jet 55. Love all our fans and everything. Love for the newbies to come on board. And I'm going. Well, no, we're not going to say. We're gonna next podcast. We're gonna maybe go game by game and we're gonna predict their record. How about that, Philly boy?
Let's
We'll go.
try to do that. Maybe yeah, we won't jinx them by saying they're going to be 14-3. You know what I'm saying?
That's ridiculous. I was thinking more like 13-4. All
Yeah,
right,
sure.
boss.
All right.
All right, guys.
See you
Jet
guys.
55. Peace out.
All
Love
right. See you, man.
you. All right. Bye bye.